So this is what I find a really, really interesting though, because George did not criticize Game of Thrones very much, if ever. And I mean, he kind of mentioned that he fought against the removal of different characters. Like he fought against the removal of Lady Stoneheart. He fought against like the removal of Jane Poole and things like this. But for the most part, he didn't complain, which makes me wonder if D&D really focused on story beats, and they were like, we need to include every story beat from the outline that George R. R. Martin approved, and which is why those later seasons of Game of Thrones kind of feel like checklists, like nothing happens and then checklist. John R plus L equals J. Checklist, Shireen is burned. Checklist, hold the door. You know, these events that don't really have much bearing on the plot, like hold the door doesn't have much bearing on the plot at all. R plus L equals J has no bearing on the plot other than Varys dying. Shireen burning doesn't really have any bearing on the plot. Like these things, like they're just checklists from that like George had on some sort of approved outline. And here, you know, he's saying, oh, you guys had an outline and then you changed your outline and you're not following like, you know, the checklist. Though he's kind of contradicting himself here because he says, oh, he approved it and it didn't seem that bad. But then he's like, more toxic butterflies are coming with seasons 3 and 4 by changes being contemplated. Like
This is why I'm thinking they agreed on something and then they changed it behind his back and he got very upset. And
then he heard about it secondhand. Like somebody, like he has a leaker. I mean, probably like T. Mickle would be his leaker. I mean, that go without saying it would be T. Mickle. But I could see.
And this is why the blog post is so frustrating. Just fucking say that, homie. Just say that's what's getting you. That's what's getting your panties riled up. That they made these. You guys had an agreement, and they made changes behind your back without your agreement.
So this is the conspiracy theory that we have now. Okay, I got it. George not only watched the season and didn't really like things, but then T. Mickle in the writer's room heard some stuff and was like, oh my God, they're really fucking changing things for seasons 3 and 4, or there's talk. She goes and tells George. George panics, doesn't know what to do. And so he like does this blog post to try to stop it.
I'll take it. Fuck it. I'll take it.
I don't think the world is that exciting, but you know, like it's something like that, right?
Probably.
When I say T. Mickle used to be his writing assistant for a number of years before she joined the House of the Dragon writers team. So if there's one person on that writers team that is George's friend, it's T. Mickle.
Of course. Yeah. And I just found it atrocious that no comment on how they bend over backwards to make Rhaenyra and Alicent have their hands clean of any of the horrible shit they do in the book.
Does he not have a problem with that?
He didn't mention it. I wish he would have mentioned some of the changes, especially in episode 8. No change.
Well, again, he's only talking about episodes 1 and 2. You know, so I like, and maybe had he gotten later on, like them, you know, but it's just like I say, like he's doing the first half of the season was pretty good, and for him to have these minor criticisms on episodes 1 and 2, which are on a whole better than most of the season. Episode 2 being what I would call the best episode of House of the Dragon, period. I would say episode 2
100%. Yeah.
100%. And he just has some minor criticisms on like cutting Maelor and like what it might do. Like, had he gone further, he would have had to have, because it's the latter half of the season that everything falls apart, and it's episode 8 where things really fucking fall apart, where all the wheels fall off the clown car. So he did not think that this was going to be it. He was going to talk more.
But he's there. There's no way. There's no way he didn't think he'd get contacted for this. There's no shot.
I don't know, man. He's a crazy old man now.
He's a crazy old man now, really? He's not that crazy.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, you know, he's old man yelling at the clouds. But
speaking of which, you mentioned earlier HBO and their response. Do you want me to set that up?
Yeah.
So, do you want to go to my my Twitter because I put it there, or do you want to go to
Sure.
the
Hold on a
original-
second. No, I'll go to your Twitter. Here it is.
So I'll read it off. So of course HBO responded because this account called Streamer reached out to them, and this is what HBO spokesperson had to say. There are few greater fans of George R.R. Martin and his book Fire and Blood than the creative team on House of the Dragon, both in the production and at HBO. Commonly, when adapting a book for the screen with its own format and limitations, the showrunner ultimately is required to make difficult choices about the characters and stories the audience will follow. We believe that Ryan Condal and his team have done an extraordinary job, and the millions of fans the series has amassed over the first 2 seasons will continue to enjoy it. Honestly, bravo for them, if this is their official statement, because this is them standing behind their writers. And you want your company to stand right behind you on this stuff. So
Absolutely.
good on them for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's George doesn't write about keeping Laenor alive and dragon bonds. He doesn't write about dragons busting through floors. He doesn't write about beating people to death at weddings with no consequences. He doesn't write about God mode Daemon. He doesn't write about like the weird murder of Rhea Royce, you know, but he writes about Maelor missing and thinking that Maelor missing is the thing that made Blood and Cheese off, and proceeds to I don't know, create a huge scandal here largely because he deleted the post. Had they not made him delete the post? Because I'm sure it
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is something I want to highlight. Something someone in that thread said. Wes, he goes, HBO are making this worse than it really is. Once on the web, these things have a short life. Never breathe life back into it. I want to bring your attention to something Woody Harrelson did. He did a very, very bad AMA on Reddit, and it was like really, truly, truly bad. And after he ended it, he never really talked about it. And it was on the internet for maybe a couple hours, and everybody forgot. But this one guy, Alan, comes in and says, not at all. They absolutely need to declare loudly and clearly that they have confidence in their writers. Yeah, that's also true. Because if you don't stand behind your writers, then you're really not standing behind your product. And if you're not standing behind your product, why should I come back for season 3?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is what George, that final line where he's like, season 3 and 4, what are they contemplating? The thing is, it's like, the problem isn't whether they keep to George's story beats or not. That's where George is off. It's not about the story beats. You know, it's about themes and writing and things like this that are more important. Character motivation, linking episodes to episodes in a cohesive manner. It's just so, this whole thing is just so weird, because I think a lot of people are like so happy that George is being critical of HBO, but he's being critical of HBO for the wrong reasons. Like this was something where I'm like, I can totally see, this specifically is something I can totally see Ryan Condal and HBO's side on. There's a lot of fucking other stuff that I can't. So it's really weird. This is a weird hill to die on. Man, so odd. This is so odd.
I find it so funny how
this is a fucking crazy scandal rocking the Ice and Fire community right now.
Is it really a scandal though? It's more like Is it a scandal?
It's we'll see. We're gonna add to it. We're adding fuel to the fire by making these videos, but yeah.
What's funny is someone in my comment section called you and me drama queens who focus on drama stories. No, this is in the news. This is related to the creator of the series we cover. We have to cover this.
I think it's also because this also then affects his mood and, you know, Winds of Winter and all sorts of things. And the production of the show and what's going to be on the show going forward and George's role and stuff like that. All that's going to be affected by this. This is going to be some weird shit.
Well, George
But-
said earlier that he's not involved in the season 3 writing room. So if you want these changes to stick that you want, you got to be more involved, which means putting Winds of Winter on the back burner and making sure they do it correctly.
Yeah. Or putting Winds of Winter on the back burner and House of the Dragon on the back burner and focusing on Dunk and Egg and your cinema and producing a half dozen movies of the writings of Howard Waldrop and like all the other projects that he has going on.
But would you say this was very unprofessional?
Yeah, this is you don't air your laundry. You don't air your dirty laundry publicly, man. Like that's just, I understand that like some people don't have like real office jobs, but you don't do this shit. Like, if I have a problem with Tammy from HR, I'm not fucking tweeting about it. Like, you just don't fucking do that. Don't ever do that. You do it like everybody else. You go to happy hour, you bitch about it with your coworkers, that's it. Like, don't fucking mega horn it to the world. You're George R.R. Martin, man.
I wonder if this is a situation where they could lose money off this. Like, will people not turn out for season 3 because of his grievances here? Right,
but it's also weird that he did delete it. Like, I mean, maybe he had regrets over hurting Ryan Condal's feelings, or maybe it was a money thing. But it's odd that like a man with so much power is scared and has to delete a post.
It's also possible. I know you don't go on. I know you don't post often on social media. I know this very well, and so does your audience. But it's also possible he posted it, he got it off his chest, he went back, he reread it, and he's like, you know what? I'm okay. Then he tried deleting it, accidentally deleted the website for 5 seconds, deleted it, took it offline, deleted it, and
yeah. But then HBO felt the need to respond. So, like, if HBO was like, we don't know what you're talking about. But yeah. Oh, well. We'll probably see him make a comment about him commenting, like some sort of apology, probably later on.
If he was smart to put it all under the rug, release another sample chapter. If he was smart.
Oh my God, you're right, dude. If he released another sample chapter,
like a Cersei or a Jaime, holy shit!
Oh my God! Like everyone would just forget about what was this.
All forgiven, asshole.
All forgiven. Anyway, Carmine, thank you for talking with me about this scandal, big scandal.
Something tells me we're gonna continue talking about this well into the week because
I think it'll probably come up. It'll probably come up on Sunday. Yeah. I'm sorry that, by the way, I do think it's funny that I like George is being super anal and then I over analed him.
This is overanalyzing George's blog post.
I know, right? Overanalyzing George's blog post. So it's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? What if that didn't trigger her suicide? Oh God. All right. I will talk to you soon, Carmine. Thank you again.
Thank you.